Chapter 10. The Betrayal. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Destin called Verona and Lincoln into the living room for a family meeting. Verona immediately knew that something was going on. She sat at the edge of the fake leather couch, while Lincoln sank back into its squishy cushions. Jillian nervously eyed the two children before blurting out, "We're going on vacation. We'll be staying in a resort in the Florida Keys for 2 weeks. "We're going to the beach?" Verona exclaimed excitedly. She immediately loosened up and started beaming at her younger brother. "Lincoln, we're going on a real vacation!" The only trips they took were the once-a-year car rides to the Wisconsin Dells, where the family would stay the weekend in a hotel and go to the same old water parks. Lincoln was listening now. He had even taken off his headphones and was on the verge of a smile. "Wait," Jillian interrupted. "Wait." She paused an unnatural amount of time before saying, "We're not all going on vacation." Her face had turned a deep shade of red, and she was remorsefully looking at Verona and Lincoln. "I know you're both excited for a vacation, and I promise we'll plan a great trip real soon, but this trip is just going to be your father and me." With every word, the excitement in Verona's eyes was fading to gloom, but it wasn't long before it completely turned into anger. Lincoln lifted his headphones, which were resting on his shoulders, and placed them back over his ears. He then stood up, left the couch, and went to his room without uttering a single word. Verona's rage multiplied after seeing how dejected her brother looked. She yelled, "How can you guys go to Florida without us? This isn't fair." Jillian, expecting some pushback, tried her best to patiently respond. "Your father and I never had a honeymoon after we got married. I was pregnant and we were expecting you, and I couldn't travel. But now the time is finally right. Your father finally has some time off before he officially starts his new job." Verona still didn't think that was a legitimate excuse for leaving them. She glared at her parents before asking, "What are we supposed to do here all by ourselves? You can't do this." Jillian looked at Phil with remorse, silently asking him with her eyes if they should change their plans and bring the kids or possibly cancel the whole trip. But they couldn't because the plans were made and the hotel rooms were booked. There was no turning back now. Phil took over and tried to calm everyone down and stay on track. "We signed you up for a day camp at the YMCA. Sounds like a lot of fun. And it's a superhero theme. And we're not leaving you alone. Your Aunt Kara will be here in 2 days. Until then, you have a sir. He has agreed to watch you guys while we're gone. We'll be back before you know it, and you can look at this as your very own summer adventure." Verona felt betrayed, realizing that a sir must have known about this yesterday. She made a mental note to deal with him later. Verona refocused her anger back at her parents. She knew what they were saying was ridiculous, and knew that she was seconds away from bursting into tears. Verona yelled, "You're leaving tomorrow!" Not giving her parents a chance to answer, Verona continued, "You two never do anything for us. You never listen to us. And now you're abandoning us." Jillian, frustrated that Verona did not understand their sacrifices for the family, yelled out, "It's because of you that we never got to have a honeymoon." Verona froze as tears welled up in her eyes. Deeply wounded, Verona's only response was to turn and storm off to her room. But before she got there, she realized she didn't want to be alone and instead went to Lincoln's room. She entered and slammed the door shut behind her. Jillian immediately regretted everything that she said. She took a few seconds to collect herself, and then she got up and followed Verona to Lincoln's bedroom. The door was locked. Although Jillian could have easily picked the lock by simply using her fingernail to turn the latch, she knew the kids were upset, so she chose to respect their feelings and speak through the door. "Can I come in?" Verona cried. Go away. Jillian sighed and said, I'm sorry. I never should have said what I said. I didn't mean it. Of course, it is not your fault. Please, forgive me. Verona could tell that her mother was truly sorry, but she was not ready to forgive her yet. So, instead, she once again responded, Go away! Even though it broke her heart, Jillian did what she was told to do. Verona never left Lincoln's room, and the two children spent the night together in a pit of despair. They couldn't understand why their parents would leave them and go on a vacation without them. The next morning, Phil and Jillian packed the car and got ready to head out. Before they left, they all sat down at the kitchen table, and while everyone was eating a breakfast complete with fried eggs and toast for Verona, and toast with strawberry jam for Lincoln, Phil told the children that they had left them $100 for incidentals and an additional $500 in the kitchen drawer that should only be used in the case of an emergency. Jillian had written down a bunch of emergency phone numbers as well as directions for the YMCA camps that they were to start the next morning. Also, they showed the kids where other things they may need were located in the house and informed them that the refrigerator was stocked with enough food to last them a month. Don't eat it all in one sitting, Jillian warned with a smile. Jillian hugged Lincoln and then Verona. If you need anything, go see a sir. She paused for a moment, then said, Take care of your little brother and keep him safe. Try to enjoy yourselves, but please avoid dangerous situations. We love you. Aunt Kara will be here tomorrow. Verona just nodded. Verona was still very upset, but she was resigned to try not to argue with her parents. As they walked out the door, today, she was uncharacteristically as quiet as Lincoln. Jillian then reminded her daughter that she was an incredibly smart and capable young lady, and she told Verona that she was proud of her. Verona nodded again and walked away. A few moments later, the 12-year married couple was driving off on their long-overdue honeymoon, looking back and waving at their children out the car windows.